The rise of Burkina Faso's Traore and the Sahel's new order. Can ECOWAS keep up to this? The political landscape of West Africa is shifting in ways that no one, least of all ECOWAS, seems prepared to handle. What began as a troubling pattern of military coups has evolved into something far more profound: the forging of a new political identity across Sahel, led most visibly by Burkina Faso's young and dynamic leader, Captain Ibrahim Traore. However, since taking power in 2022, Traore has not only stabilized Burkina Faso's political environment, but has also achieved remarkable economic milestones, including paying off the country's bilateral debt and accelerating development at a pace that has stunned observers. In a region where democratic governments have often been synonymous with stagnation and dependency, Traore's leadership offers a stark and for many inspiring contrast. Recent attempts to overthrow him have only deepened his support, both at home and across Africa. His regime has become the face of a growing rejection of Western influence and failed post-colonial governance models. Burkina Faso, alongside Mali and Niger, now forms the Alliance of Sahel States, known as EAES, an emerging bloc determined to chart its own course, free from the dictate of Paris, Washington, or even Abuja. ECOWAS, meanwhile, looks increasingly like a bystander to history. Once heralded as the guardian of democracy and stability in the region, the bloc has watched helplessly as half its landmass has fallen outside of its political fold. Its credibility has been further eroded by its failure to respond meaningfully to successive coups, starting with Mali in 2020 and culminating most recently in Niger. Condemnations and sanctions have achieved little beyond hardening anti-Western and anti-ECOWAS sentiment in the Sahel. Indeed, the more ECOWAS strengthens, the more the Sahel state strengthens its internal resolve. Talk of military intervention following Niger's coup last year only pushed the Sahelian regimes closer together. Today, rather than facing isolated juntas, ECOWAS confronts a coordinated alliance, one that is forging security and economic partnerships outside the traditional Western framework, notably with Russia and other non-traditional actors. At the center of this movement stands Traore, whose bold actions have exposed uncomfortable truth for ECOWAS remaining democracies. While many of these governments struggle under the weight of economic mismanagement, insecurity, and public disillusionment, Traore's Burkina Faso is rapidly becoming a model for self-determination and national pride. However, imperfect, this presents an existential dilemma for ECOWAS. Its 2001 Protocol on Democracy and Good Governance commits the bloc to upholding constitutional order and intervening against unconstitutional changes of government. Yet, clinging rigidly to his framework risks deepening divisions at a time when the very definition of legitimacy is being reimagined by millions across the Sahel states. The hard reality is that democracy as practiced in most West Africa has often been hollow. Elections have frequently been marred by fraud, corruption, and the enrichment of elites at the expense of ordinary citizens. Against this backdrop, the military regimes in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger have successfully positioned themselves not merely as usurpers but as liberators from a failed system. It would be a grave mistake for ECOWAS to continue threatening the AES states as mere rogue elements to be isolated or coerced back into line. The bloc must confront a more complicated truth: that these regimes, for all their imperfections, are responding to legitimate grievances that democracy as practiced in the region has repeatedly failed to address. This does not mean ECOWAS must abandon its commitment to democratic governance. Rather, it must evolve its strategic engagement, not isolation, should become the new watchword. ECOWAS must find ways to dialogue with the AES, recognizing that a new political architecture is emerging, whether the old guard likes it or not. The lessons of 2017, when ECOWAS successfully pressured Yahya Jammeh to relinquish power in the Gambia, still hold value. Their unity of purpose, regional solidarity, and overwhelming legitimacy allowed ECOWAS to prevail. But the circumstances today are vastly different. The Sahelian juntas enjoy significant popular support. Regional divisions have deepened, and external actors like Russia are eagerly filling the vacuum left by waning Western influence. Attempting to impose old solutions on a new reality will only hasten ECOWAS' irrelevance. Is it too early to say whether the alliance of Sahel states can build a stable, prosperous alternative to the ECOWAS model? Maybe much will depend on whether the leaders like Traore can deliver sustainable development, genuine governance reforms, and avoid the trappings of authoritarianism. But what is clear is that the momentum behind them is real and, of course, is growing. ECOWAS now faces a stark choice: either adapt to the realities reshaping West Africa or risk becoming a relic of a past order already fading into history. The Sahel has made its move. How ECOWAS' response will define the future of the region for decades to come. What is your opinion, my lovers? Feel free to drop it in the comment section. And if you know this is your first time coming across our YouTube channel, feel free to subscribe, turn on the bell button so you always get notified whenever we post our latest content. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for more updates.